Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My last video I did an updated houseplant tour of my collection currently. What I did include in that video was what I'm propagating currently, which includes some stuff that I've imported last year. It's weird saying that because it's 2022 now, so technically it was last year, but it feels like 2021 never happened. So yeah, I'm gonna get into showing you guys my propagation bins. I have two big ones and then a couple small ones, and I'll show you some updated stuff too that has been in past videos. So to start off, my cat's trying to climb the wall. This is part of an import that didn't do so well. So I kind of like divided up the nodes and put it into leca or moss to see what would happen, and this guy's actually doing really well. This is a Philodendron Gloriosum. It's quite tiny because I did have to again chop it up, so that kind of made it revert back in size. My dog is outside digging, trying to dig through ice. Sorry, I can see him through the window here. I'm watching him, which is why the background's kind of different right now, but yeah. We've had storms pretty much every weekend for the past 2 months, so the animals are going a little stir crazy with that. But yeah, Philodendron Gloriosum. I actually have a couple of these that propagated. There, that's a better photo or view. But yeah, it's like that really nice pillowy velvety leaf with the veining through it. I was actually surprised. So what ended up happening is I can't find sphagnum moss locally. It's so hard to find, and the stuff that I have found, it's not like long strands like I want. It's like really powdery stuff and really unpleasant. So I ran out of sphagnum moss and I didn't have anything else to put stuff in, so I put into leca, and I didn't expect much to happen because typically I would propagate nodes in moss. Put it in a humidity bin, but this guy, he took right off. There's actually been multiple plants that I had to put into leca because I ran out of sphagnum and couldn't get it in time. So I just threw them into leca, hope for the best kind of thing, and they actually rooted. And not, look at her, she is insane. She's climbing walls. She'll like run at a door and climb up it to get on like the top if it's open, and she'll literally just like run at a door to get up to the top. My dog, hold on. Oh no, I can't show you. So a lot of them actually did really well in leca. I'm super happy with that because I do prefer leca anyway. I've tried to get away from soil just because of how a lot of stuff that I used to use in my soil or that we use for potting soil is not you know, eco-friendly. It's not sustainable. So I've kind of gotten into using leca a lot more because it's reusable. So I can, you know, if I move plants around or I repot or something dies, then I can sterilize it and reuse it. It's not something I'm going to throw out, whereas with repotting you tend to throw away soil once it's been used instead of being able to reuse it. So I have switched to leca. It's also just cleaner. I have a lot of animals around and I find it easier to pick up pieces of leca than try and get, she's climbing the door, instead of trying to get like pieces of dirt and like, what's the white stuff? Oh my god. Instead of trying to get like the soil and the components out of, for example, carpet. We have carpeted rooms. Well, a couple of them are carpeted, and I have a rug in the living room, so it's just easier to clean up when something gets knocked over. But yeah, this is actually another one right here. I have it kind of in my view because I want to keep staring at it. But this is another one that I had to chuck into leca, and it's actually putting out new growth again. Like, it put out this leaf. This was just a stub, and now it's actually growing into a plant, which is super exciting for me. Another one that did super well in leca. I'm super happy with it. And then we'll move on to a Syngonium. This is my all-time favorite type of Syngonium. It's Syngonium Army, and it just has like this really pretty like mottled like marbly I don't even know what to call it. It's just like the prettiest variegation. If you can get a close up, that leaf is just so stunning. Like, my hands are so shaky, but if it will focus, you can see how stunning the variegation is on these. One of the leaves came in kind of wonky, but now that it's putting out more growth, like the first leaf that came in was wonky, but now it started putting out normal growth. Like, it looks like an actual Syngonium leaf now, whereas the first one that it kind of put out after kind of came out a little funky. I think this is another Gloriosum right here. Yep, another Philodendron Gloriosum chunk that I had put in leca to hope for the best kind of thing. The leaf is still just starting to unfurl, so it hasn't come all the way out. This one you can see like the veining on it really well. But yeah, it's still unfurling. It's so hard. Let me know in the comments if you're someone who likes to help the leaves or if you leave them. I kind of go back and forth. I try not to touch them, but just sometimes I can't help myself. I recently helped my bird of paradise is putting out a giant new leaf and it just wasn't doing anything. And so I helped it and it's ripped now, so lesson learned. I shouldn't say lesson learned because I'm probably going to do it again, and I've continued to do it despite it happening before. 1 second, I have to check my dog. So just to kind of give you a time frame and a reference for these, all these propagations that I'm showing have been sitting in a humidity bin for the past, since November. So yeah, they've been in there for a while now, and they've all put out new growth and stuff. So one of the bins I've actually arranged in a way that I have stuff in there that's ready to come out of the bin. And so what I've done is I've moved things that are ready to come out into one bin, things that need to stay in to another bin, and I took the top off just to kind of start acclimating them to like my normal house environment, and then that will help get them ready like for trades and selling too, because then they'll be acclimated to like an actual home environment, if that makes sense. Because when you move it from like a really high humidity to a really low humidity, I think my place tends to stay around like 30-40% humidity, so I have to keep humidifiers going or something. We have like radiators like that, which tends to suck a lot of the moisture out of the air and make it dry. So I do have humidity things that run to keep it around 60%. But the bins, they keep it so much higher and so much nicer for propagations. So believe it or not, I don't know what this is. So there's some things that I propagated that I just have, excuse like the ugly nails. I'm really bad for like painting my nails and then doing stuff afterwards, so they get ruined immediately. I can't wait for them to dry. It's the ADHD, I promise. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Oh, I just ripped one off. Oops. I just ripped that leaf off. I'm sorry. Poor plant. But basically I had some nodes and stuff that I had thrown into a cup to kind of like a Hail Mary, and I didn't label all of them, so now I don't know what certain things are until they grow back a new leaf. And these leaves, I don't know what they are. I think they're trying to be Epipremnum pinnatum albos, but I don't know that for a fact. I think that's what this is supposed to be. But the leaves have just kind of come in wonky. I'm pretty sure that's what this is supposed to be. So I think this is my last Gloriosum propagation in here. It's the third one, and it's the last one I have in this bin. I have more outside of it, but these were just like the propagations I took of, like, cut some of the nodes off of my bigger plants to propagate. And that's kind of where we're at with the Gloriosums. There's also a new growth point in there, if you can see it. So that one will be putting out a new leaf soon, which is super exciting. So this guy is super exciting too, because it's putting out crazy amounts of growth right now. Look at all those little growth points coming out. I'm so excited for this. Tiny little baby leaf right there. It's trying to pick up my face. It's super exciting though. You can see the roots are doing really well in the leca. I have to water all these. I forget. I'm so used to like being able to forget about them in the bins because the humidity stays high enough that I don't really have to water them. Whereas now that the cover is open, they obviously need more attention and I've been neglecting them a bit, but fortunately none of them have really suffered from my neglect. But yeah, just look at how gorgeous like the silvery variegation is on these. I also love how the stems, sometimes they come in kind of like reddish. You can kind of see it at the tops of these guys. They're kind of more red than green. Into more Syngonium. This is Syngonium green spot, which is basically a really pretty Syngonium. I love this one too. It just has like green flecks on it. It has like a little bit of pink or not variegation, but like a little bit of pink veining in it. And then if you look at this leaf, it came in kind of really unique because it's like the light green, but then it has the dark green variegation that kind of outlines the leaf. Oh my gosh, I wish my hands were steadier. I can get it to show up. It's super pretty. And this one has a new leaf coming in too. This guy had put out new growth, and this is a Syngonium elbow propagation, but it obviously has suffered from the acclimation. Not too bad, like it's still probably gonna lose that leaf maybe. But the node down here is still healthy, so hopefully once it acclimates again, it will kind of start to put out new growth, or I might actually stick that one back in the other bin with the stuff that I'm still keeping in the higher humidity. This is another Syngonium elbow propagation. This leaf is really pretty. This was my first Syngonium purchase, with Syngonium elbow, and it ended up dying, and I still to this day don't really know what happened to it, but it was so devastating because of how big it was. It was so beautiful. I'll insert a picture here if I remember to do it. But yeah, it was a very heartbreaking day. This guy, again, I didn't mark it anywhere on the cup, so I have no idea what it is. This guy actually needs to go back into the other bin so that he can do some more growing. This is, so it's commonly referred to as Philodendron Pig Skin because of the like thick leathery leaves. Like they're really thick and the texture is more like leather than anything else. I know that's kind of hard to like imagine, but I don't know how else to explain it other than it feels like leather. But it's also, the actual name of it is Philodendron Gloriosum aberrant form. And this is off a propagation off of my really big plant as well. And it's doing super well in leca. I think it's actually putting out a third growth Yeah, it's putting out a third leaf. I can see it kind of starting. One of the like petioles is pregnant. So this is, I know that this is really wonky looking, but it is a Epipremnum pinnatum albo propagation. It's just like a super wonky leaf that will hopefully produce some more normal growth. More Syngonium. Sorry, I was admiring it. Again, I'm super obsessed with the Syngonium army. This is another guy. This was the first leaf that came in. And again, he was kind of wonky, but now there's this bigger new leaf. And it doesn't have very good variegation, so I'm holding him until he does have another leaf coming right there. So I'm crossing my fingers that it has better variegation on it, but it's still too hard to tell just from here. That's what I was kind of trying to look at. This is another Syngonium green spot. You can tell that I like Syngoniums, right? This guy actually feels a little crispy. He might need to go closer to the humidifier. But this leaf is really pretty right here. It has kind of like bigger splotches of green. I really, really adore green on green variegation. It's probably my favorite type. Like over yellow on green or white. I definitely think my preference is green on green variation or a mixture of green and white. But I just love to see different shades of green. Green's my favorite color, so it might have something to do with that, but I just love all the different shades. This is an Alocasia that I propagated from like a bulb, and it put out a new leaf. Alocasia scalprum, I believe. That's what this guy is. He's one of the only things I actually still have in a soil mixture. And this is another, I might actually chop this guy up more because as you can see it's really leggy and there's lots of like nodes going down here, so I think I might actually chop him. But it is another Syngonium Podophyllum albo. It's just really bad variegation, so I think I might chop him up again and stick him back in the other bins, honestly. Now for one of my favorites. I absolutely adore Queen Anthurium, or Anthurium Warrock Queen. I don't know how to pronounce it, but the leaves are so soft, so velvety, and they get absolutely massive. I honestly can't describe to you how much I love this plant. This plant was the first rare plant that I fell in love with, and I fell in love with it watching The Plants Meow, I believe is the channel name. She had like really, really big, beautiful, large leaves, and that's why I aspire to have someday. So now I'm kind of into like, this is a Anthurium clairvernum, but it's basically just a stump. There's nothing really happening yet. It's just kind of chilling in there. These ones are a little bit less exciting because they're just propagations that aren't doing a whole lot yet. Theo, stop. This is a pot of moss. It appears to just be a cup of moss. Something either died in here or I had a cup of moss. I do fill too many cups sometimes with moss, and I'll just like shove them wherever they fit, which has been in the propagation bins occasionally, so I'll have to look through that and see if there's anything salvageable. It could be something that died and I just don't know it, or it could be another cup of moss. This is also a empty cup of moss, in case you're interested. This is actually something is just an unhappy something. This is a propagation that rotted, so nothing interesting there. And this is Aglaonema pictum tricolor propagations, which are doing so unbelievably well. I could not be happier with how well these are taking. Every single propagation has a growth point on it. So the cool thing about these two is that you don't need a node to propagate from. You can kind of just like divide them up and they'll start spreading out new growth points. Like, look in this cup, there's tons of new growth points coming out on these guys. And I'm so excited to have a bunch of baby ones. I'm so excited. I had heard that these are like really difficult plants to take care of and they need unbelievably high humidity, but this has been sitting out just next to a humidifier in the bin that's open top, and it's still doing fine. Like, it's put out tons, it's been growing lots. I am going to put it back in higher humidity because I want it to, you know, kind of speed up the process and give it higher humidity to hopefully help with the growth. But I'm gonna get a heat mat as well, I think, and you can see the roots going down through the bottom here, which is super cool. So I'm really impressed with that. I will be putting him back in the other bin as well. Why? Do I have a package? This is more Epipennum pinnatum elbow nodes that are propagating in here. A lot of them actually died off, but there is some, and there is, again, those tiny little wonky leaves. I don't really know what's going on there, but hopefully they produce something. So this is one that obviously didn't take well to Leca. I'm gonna say this is dead, and I don't know what it was because it's not marked, because I'm horrible for doing that. So he's gonna go over here with the dead stuff. This is some kind of Alocasia bulb thing, which seems pretty rotten, but there is one little solid part, so I might chop it up. You're not gonna be able to see it because it looks pretty rotten, but there is a little bulb in there that I'm probably gonna end up not being able to do much with because it is pretty rotten. I don't think it's gonna take, but we'll see. We'll keep it for now. I'm not gonna give up until there's absolutely nothing that I can do. My animals. This is another cup of moss. Theo. So I don't know what this is, but it's dead. It's rotten completely. So that's garbage. And I think that was the only thing in there. So this is a cup of moss. Okay, so on to like my little smaller propagation bins. This one obviously dried out. The seal obviously wasn't good on this one. Like, the cover literally didn't even, like, it was loose when I picked it up. So obviously these bins are no good because they're completely dried out. Everything in here is dead. I think it might have been Hoya stuff I was trying to save. There was an incident back at the old place where I put my Hoyas in the shower to water them, and then my boyfriend then went and cleaned the cat litter bin by turning on the hot water, and without moving my plants or getting me to move them, I was letting them sit there to dry, and he boiled my Hoyas. So this is garbage. This is, it looks like micans, maybe, like tiny little micans. Super cute. It is velvety. I know it doesn't look like micans, but I think it's just because they're so tiny. I don't exactly know what this is. It does need water in a desperate way, so I'm gonna leave it out to water. There's a couple of vines in there, but that seems to be the only one doing anything. So I honestly might just take that out of there and repot it into a smaller container. These guys are probably spent, the nodes. I've had this for well over a year now, so if it's not doing anything by now, it's not going to. The nodes could be spent or something, so I'm just gonna probably throw them. What's in here? This isn't labeled either. And I don't see anything that's alive, so this is the other side of like propagating and propagation bins, is that things die, they don't always live, and that's fine. It's super exciting to like see the progress like in the other ones, but these ones I suspect that I'm gonna add them at the last, like kind of the more disappointing stuff, just because to show that side of it, because it does happen. Not everything is gonna take and root or grow, and that's fine. This is also dead. It was, I don't know, it was Monstera Dubaia, I think that's what was in here. It was something like that. I'm pretty sure it was Monstera Dubaia I was trying to propagate in here, and it's dead. That's fine. That's why we propagate, to make more, so that if they don't work out or they die, you have backups. So I have 3 more bins. I know that I have one more as well, like a 4th, but I don't know where it is, but I know that I have it because it's a bin specifically for my Monstera Peru propagations. I don't know where they are, but it's somewhere. I'll find it eventually. Let's see. There's nothing alive in here. It's just moss. Those are dead. Oops. In here we have I guess 2 surviving Hoyas. Barely. This is Hoya nummuleroides. It's a fuzzy Hoya. The leaves are really soft and kind of like little hairs that stand up on them. And then Hoya Coriana, I believe. I actually love this Hoya. The leaves are so pretty and unique. And they have like a little bit of splashy variegation on them. I obviously need to clean the leaves, but I'm gonna take you out of there. And then I had apparently a Florida ghost in here, but it's dead. Oh, surprise! It's not actually dead. There is actually growth happening in here. I just didn't see it. That's so exciting. So check your stuff before you throw it out. So yeah, the top you can see where it rotted off, like that black part right here. So I'm gonna have to separate that, and hopefully the rest of it will continue to grow well. And then last but not least, I think this is a lot of miscellaneous stuff in here. Apparently a lot of dead stuff. I have a lot of stuff in here that's literally dead. This is alive. I don't know what it is, but it's alive. So I'll leave you out. Don't know what this is, but it does have a growth point, so someday I'll know what it is. The camera wants to pick it up. Hello, pick it up please. Okay, you're just gonna have to believe me that there's a growth point on that because my hand is holding the bin so it doesn't fall. Another thing, I don't know what it is, but it does have a growth point. Again, don't really know what it is, but it is growing and alive. Alive and growing, not really sure what it is. Yeah, I don't know. That's confusing because the leaf is decent, but this is a growth point, but don't know what it is. Growth point, don't know what it is. Oh, I know what these are. These are off of a silver sword, I think, where the petioles were being like really weird and windy, so I just chopped up a bunch of the nodes that were not really producing anything and put them in here. So I have a bunch of nodes from that. And then I guess the only other thing really in here is a couple of strings of heart propagations that haven't really done a whole lot, but you can see that they have a little bulb. If it would focus anyway, you would see it. A little bulb started on them. And this guy has a root too. So that's exciting. So yeah, there were really few things. Most of it was dead, but that's fine. Overall, I'm still really impressed and happy with, what's this? Dead. That's what that is. Yeah, it's like finding treasure in here. Yeah, overall, I'm really happy with the propagations. Obviously, there is some disappointments and stuff that I didn't even know I had, but I say overall, I'm happy with it. Like, the vast majority are doing really well. And like I said, there's always going to be like a small percentage that don't do well. But that's fine. That's part of the hobby, you know? So I'm happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.